So today I have what I hope will be a really enjoyable and special treat kind of yoga practice for you. I have a restorative practice that's focused on basically creating space and a sense of upliftment in the heart region. It is the day after Valentine's Day, and whatever that means to you, it's just a nice opportunity to sort of do a practice that is heart centered, heart focused. And in yoga philosophy, really the seat of wisdom and the seat of that deeper knowledge and deeper intellect is considered to be in the heart. So, and also if you just think about like when you are really feeling or thinking about something on a deeper level, is it the brain that you go to? Is it analysis, or is it more feeling that in the heart region? Also, just a little food for thought, a little philosophy here. So I'm going to share with you, this is Sutra 3.35 from the Yoga Sutras. This is the Light on the Yoga Sutras commentary by BKS Iyengar, Light on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And Sutra 3.35, forgive my imperfect Sanskrit pronunciation, Hridaya Chitta Samvit. So by samyama, so that's like an integration, coming together. By samyama on the region of the heart, the yogi acquires a thorough knowledge of the contents and tendencies of consciousness. And BKS Iyengar's commentary, I won't read the whole thing, but this first little part I think is really nice and insightful. The citadel of Purusha, so the soul, or that higher self, the citadel of Purusha is the heart. It is Anahata Chakra, the seat of pure knowledge as well as of consciousness. So, when we're talking about the heart region, it's not really the emotional self that we're talking about. I mean, sure, when we feel those deep emotions or, even strong or joyful emotions, oftentimes we do feel it in the heart. But the heart region is also important for knowledge, for wisdom, for understanding of the consciousness. All right. All that aside, let us, and whether or not any of that resonates with you, hopefully you'll enjoy this practice, right? So all that aside, let's do a nice restorative practice. So we're going to start off, today this practice is fairly prop heavy. I'm going to be using 2 chairs, 2 bolsters, possibly some blankets, and like always, if you don't have all those things, don't stress it. You can just make do with it, whatever you have around. And also, you can always just take 1, 2, 3 poses that I'm doing and make that your practice. So you don't have to do the whole thing. If there's one thing in here that is useful to you, you can take that one thing. But I'm going to start with a horizontal bolster, Supta Baddha Konasana, so reclined bound angle pose using 2 horizontal bolsters. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of setting this up. And sometimes or oftentimes we'll do this pose with the lengthwise bolster. Today I'm doing the horizontal bolster to get more of a sense of expansion, expansiveness, which is, that horizontal spreading is important as a sense of vertical lengthening. So we want to do practices that create horizontal expansion. When we get sort of stressed, that can tend to cause, or maybe have heavier emotions. If something's weighing on us, that can tend to cause a sort of contraction. So doing practices that not only expand us vertically, but horizontally is helpful. Also, this pose, Supta Baddha Konasana, it's very good if you have any feelings of heaviness in the abdomen, like for instance, for menstruation, it's definitely one of the number 1 go-to poses. So I'm going to do with the 2 bolsters, and then I'm going to take support for my outer thighs, and I'm going to have an additional blanket for my head. I may or may not need that, but I'll show you. So I'll just have that extra blanket for my head just in case. And then I like to start sitting up on the bolster with the feet together, the knees apart, and then I'm going to support the outer thigh, so that way the inner legs can get the message to release. When we support the outer thighs, those inner legs get the message to release. And then from here, you want to position yourself in such a way that the shoulders can sort of drop down between those 2 bolsters. There's sort of a crevice in the bolsters, and you want the shoulders to be able to drop down and then have room to expand your arms to the sides. You may need to adjust your shoulders, so you can even grab your own bottom tip of the shoulder blade here and then take that shoulder blade into the back, draw those shoulders down, let the chest be open, arms to the sides, palms up, and then just rest here, just rest here. Okay, so if this is comfy and rejuvenating and restorative for you, please stay for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is certainly not unusual. I do want to show you another setup though, in case this just isn't floating your boat this morning or this evening or afternoon, whenever you're doing this recording. So you can also do with just one bolster. And if you do with just one bolster, it's going to be a little bit more back bendy, and I would recommend having at least a little something behind your head so that the back of the neck doesn't get shortened. And then again, we'll have the feet together, the knees apart. You'll roll on back. Sorry, I paused for a second. We're fostering, potentially adopting a Great Dane, and he's sniffing around the door outside. So we may get a visit from a giant loving beast at some point during this recording. And then again, you'll let those arms release down. So you want to get the sense of openness in this upper chest region. So find a comfortable resting spot for those arms. And then relax the abdomen, relax the inner legs. This is a do nothing pose. So you want to set it up and completely let go. Just let the breath be natural, smooth, soft, in and out the nose. And then when you do that, you can look and just watch the pattern of the breath. Where does the breath go? When you don't try, when you don't manipulate, where does the breath go? Where do you feel the touch of the breath? Then you can also reach the arms overhead here. You can turn the palms up, open the backs of the hands to the floor. Get that nice sense of vertical extension now. And or interlace the palms, tighten the elbows, turn the palms away. Change the interlace of the hands. Again, tighten the elbows, reach the palms away. Let go of the inner legs, let go of the abdomen, soften the throat. See that you're not clenching the jaw or pushing the tongue. And now can you tune into that sense of vertical extension? Especially through the torso, the front sides of the abdomen. All right, I'm going to go ahead and come on up. Again, with any of these poses, if you're getting into a really nice spot, stay longer. I'm not looking to rush you. I just want to keep things moving along for the sake of the recording, because it gets a little boring if you're watching me or listening to me just stay quiet in a pose for 20 minutes or something. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is cross bolsters, Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. So Dvipada Viparita Dandasana means two-footed inverted staff pose. It is a back bend, actually a fairly challenging back bend when done unsupported, but we're going to do this in a very soft, supported way. So I'm taking two bolsters, one horizontal ways, the one on top is going to be vertical ways. And then I'm taking just a thin blanket back here because eventually my head's going to land here, and I don't want to put my head on a hard surface because that just tends to create tension in the brain. And so to do this pose, again, if you don't have two bolsters, what you could do is you could put some rolled blankets on the bottom layer or a block. Or even if you have a fairly big bolster, even just doing this with one bolster, especially if you're a little bit stiffer in the back or the frontal groin area, that might be plenty as well. So we're going to come into this pose progressively. You're going to sit up at the front end of the bolster. And then first just start by hooking the base of the occiput, the base of the skull, on the edge of the bolster. This alone can feel really lovely and soothing. And again, any of these stages, feel free to stay for as long as serves you. Feel free to stay and linger. Smooth, soft breath. right, and then pushing with the feet so that you slide rather than wriggle, because we want the skin of the upper back to be dragged down the back. And when you wriggle, it tends to create sort of a disturbance. So you're going to push with the heels and then slide to the head side. And then you'll slide off until the back top of the head is on the floor, and then the shoulders will be up off the floor. So those that know Setu Bandha, formation of a bridge pose, this is different than Setu Bandha because the shoulders are not on the floor. If your t-shirt gets caught, you may just have to pull that t-shirt out from your throat. Don't choke yourself with your t-shirt. And then we'll rest here with the top back of the head on the floor and the shoulders up and the legs extended straight. I'm having my feet a little wider than hip width with straight legs. You can even go a little wider than that, or you can experiment with going more narrow too. So experiment and see what feels good, especially in your sacral tailbone area. So sometimes if your sacrum is a little bit sensitive or sore, you may want to experiment with the distance of the feet that feels soothing to you, where you can get space and lengthen the abdomen, but not have an irritation in the tailbone or sacrum. Also, if this does continue to bother you in the low back, you can also elevate the feet. So you could take a couple blocks or put your feet at a wall and have those feet more hip height. Or you could also just do away with the bottom bolster and do this on one bolster, and it will be a little bit of a milder effect. So again, we'll be here for a bit. Go for smooth, soft breaths in and out the nose. Keep the legs somewhat active, so it's not the straightest legs ever, but keep the legs loosely straight, outer thighs up, heels down, toes up, and then look for the areas of tension and can you release. Allow your breath to move freely, naturally, in and out the nose. Do you feel how when you just take a natural inhale, that breath softly expands the chest region from the inside out? If you don't find that comes naturally, see if you can tune into that and cultivate that without force. We don't want to force the breath, but can you take a soft, smooth, deep inhale through the nose and allow that inhale to just gently expand the chest from the inside out, and then just watch the exhale dissipate. Relax across your face, relax between the eyebrows. You want to get the sense like your face is wide and passive and reflective like the moon. Quiet like the moon. All right, now we're going to continue on our little journey here. Now you're going to slide off a little further to the head side until your shoulder blades and upper back touch the floor. Your sacrum, however, will still be hooked up on the bolster. And then from here, we're going to cross the legs, have the arms down low, kind of like Shavasana arms, hands along side your body with some space. Just cross those legs, let the ankles and feet relax around the bolster. Notice any sensations in the frontal groins, in the abdominal area, in the inner groins. You might feel like a little bit of a stretch there. And then you can stay for a minute or two and change the cross of the legs. Eyes can be softly open or closed. See what serves you better. See what's more quieting for your mind. Okay, and then we're just going to briefly extend these legs up, almost like a kind of
Viparita Karani inverted leg. For those that know the pose, we're looking at straight legs, legs together, and legs at a perpendicular angle to the floor, so 90-degree angle with the legs. All right, and then we're going to slide off the bolster from here. So one thing I should have mentioned is make sure you have room to your head side. I'm actually a little bit short on room here myself, so you don't want to be bumping your head on anything, obviously, when you roll out, so you want to leave space there. Okay, and then it's good after doing some poses like that just to sit up for a moment, give yourself a chance to sort of absorb and digest the effects. Let that seep in, like steeping tea. Give it a moment to steep. Okay, moving right along. We are going to do a 2-bolster, 2-chair Purvottanasana, stretch of the east side of the body. So again, this one's a little bit prop heavy. I'll show with the 2 chairs and 2 bolsters, and I'm also going to show a 1 chair and 1 bolster variation in case you want to try that one instead. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the sticky mat so that the chairs don't go sliding around on me, and then I'm going to grab my 2 chairs and another sticky mat. So pardon me while I step off camera for a moment here to gather my things. Okay, so we're going to have these 2 chairs facing each other. Now it's nice also if you can position yourself so that your feet end up at the wall. So I'm going to just test that out for myself for a second here. It's not the end of the world if they're not touching the wall, but it does add to the experience in the pose. So I think I need to be just a wee bit further away. Okay, that should probably do it for me. We'll find out, right? And then from here, we're going to have the 2 chairs facing each other with a little bit of space in between the 2 chairs. And then a sticky mat. And we're going to stair step the bolsters, like so. And then I'm going to just put a block underneath this bolster also. It's probably not really, well, here, we'll put it this way so it actually does something, huh? So it doesn't go tipping downward. And then a blanket for the head. So this is definitely a queenly setup here, a royal setup for our Purvottanasana, stretch of the east side of the body. And then from here, we're going to step in, put the buttocks on that lower bolster, extend the legs out, and then you're going to lay back. And see, this is nice because I can have my feet touching the wall. And then from here, you'll support the head. I want to get a little more of my buttocks up on that bolster. And see to it, so see here, this is not a good thing where my lower back is jammed and the buttocks is almost coming up into the low back. So from here, I want to lift my butt up, scoot the top buttocks to the back of the knees, scoot the top buttocks away from the low back, and then get those legs straight, head supported. And then some options with the arms here. So you can rest the hands on the torso like so, or another nice option is to hold the elbows and take those arms overhead. So you can see how this might be a heart supportive pose, right? So you're relaxing, but at the same time, there's this sense of upliftment, upward climbing. And actually you want to feel, so I'm going to actually slightly adjust again so I can get more of my butt on the bolster and have a better press of my legs, because ideally, if you can get your legs touching the wall, you want to feel like the energy of the legs is drawing up. And then there's a sense of upliftment, upward climbing from the legs up to the chest region, and a sense of lightness in the head. So again, staying here for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, even a little longer is certainly not unusual. You could stay for 10 minutes. Just watch if you get any numbness in the arms. You may need to change the arm position. Sometimes people like to drape the arms down like this. I think that's okay for a moment or two, but you don't want to stay like this for a long time. You could support the hands on blocks, but you don't want to just let the arms hang like this. It can actually sort of pull on the heart. but reaching the arms up overhead can be nice. Holding the elbows, or even again, just resting the hands on the torso like so. This can be a really nice way to be as well. Okay, I'm gonna stay here for a little bit longer because this is quite lovely. Hopefully by this time you've found your setup in the pose and you can join me here. And then again, look for the areas of tension can you release. Go for a soft jaw, smooth, soft breathing. Okay, I feel like I could stay here all day, but I am going to move us along because I do want to show how to do this pose in case you only have one chair or one bolster. So for folks who don't have the full supply here of yoga props, whatever that is, there's another way of doing this. So we can also do with one bolster, so just like this, and like this, and here we go, careful stepping through. And then from here, you can just lie back. Let's see, I don't know that I'm gonna love that additional blanket for my head. Actually, no, that works well, yeah. And then from here, you can just be here like this. So you can see this pose is a little bit more back bendy. You're not getting quite that sense of like upward climbing, you know, and the head actually is going a little bit below the heart here, which is not bad, it's just a different quality. So this one has a little bit of a different feeling. It's, again, not quite that same upward climbing quality, but still it can be a really lovely way to get a sense of opening across the chest, opening across the frontal thigh, frontal groin area. And then with the head support, it can be quite soothing to the head and brain and nervous system as well. Okay, so to come out, lift the chest, take the back body to the front body to come out. It's good to give yourself a moment to sit here, especially if you have any kind of blood pressure challenges or circulation challenges. Just give yourself a moment, so if there's any dizziness, that can subside. One of the things that we do want to look for in back bending is to make sure that we're breathing, because sometimes people, when they're newer to back bends, they'll sort of hold the breath and that can cause a dizziness. Also, you want to look that you're keeping the back of the neck long, because when the back of the neck shortens, that can cause a dizziness and sort of a lack of oxygen as well. So we don't want that. Okay, let us do one or two more poses here with a slightly more back bendy quality, and then we're gonna reverse our direction. So we're going to do a chair back bend now. And this one, you can keep the feet at the wall, or you can come to the middle of the room. So I will leave that to you to decide. And we're gonna keep this one fairly simple. You're going to take your sticky mat and quarter fold it, put it on your mat, and then you're going to take your blanket and make it a narrow, long fold. So this will just give a little extra support for your sacrum and your upper back, chest region. And then I actually like to do this with my head just hanging back, but if you do find that you have neck issues, or you get dizzy, or if you have blood pressure issues or eye issues, sometimes that's not such a good idea. So you could have a bolster or a block for your head. So I'm just gonna have one handy there, and I'll show you how to use that. There's different ways of using it. I'm gonna do like this, but again, that's not required. So you'll sit well into the chair. So I'm hooking the back of my sacrum on the backrest of the chair, and then from here you'll lie back, start with just the tops of the shoulders on the back of the chair seat, push with the heels of your hands, knees bent, and then press into your heels, slightly lift the buttocks up so you can slide, not wriggle, off the end of the chair. Again, if the t-shirt catches, you may need to unhook. And then pause there, knees bent, loosely holding the backrest of the chair.
Let yourself adjust to this position. Let the circulation, the blood pressure adjust. And then you can go a little further. Pause at each stage of the step of the way. And then a little further until the bottom corners of the shoulder blades are hooked on the back seat of the chair. Now from here, if you're taking the head support, you can adjust that, put it into place. So there's different ways of supporting the head. You can support the top of the head or lengthen the back of the neck and have more support for the back crown of the head. We don't want to have the chin overly tucked though. So, like this is a pretty good way to do it. Just let the top of the head be lightly supported. You do not want to have the neck jammed though. So if you're supporting the head, just let it be a light rest. Okay, and then I'm actually going to remove the block for me, and I'm going to take my hands through the tunnel of the chair, hold the back legs of the chair, and then extend those legs out straight. And press the heels down, flatten out the frontal thighs. And as you press your heels down and extend through the legs, what happens in the upper chest region? The region of the heart. You sense that there's a lightness and a spaciousness and an expansion that comes in. All right, so the old timers, experienced practitioners, you can stay here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I've done like 20 minutes in this pose. If you're newer though, better to do just short stays to get used to it. And when you're ready to come out, you'll bend the knees, use your hands, press your elbows into the seat of the chair, take the back body to the front body, and then sit up. And sit up straight and tall. And again, give yourself a moment to adjust. Okay. We could keep on going with this for quite a while. I'm going to just briefly show you one more pose here, and then we will flip it over to our abdomen. We'll flip it over to a little downward facing. So we'll take a brick Paryankasana. Paryankasana means couch pose. This is a wonderful heart supportive, heart opening pose. I heard somebody shared a quote from BK Iyengar, and he said, this pose is our open heart surgery, the open heart surgery of yoga. So, have 2 blocks. This is going to be for the middle upper back. It's on the high, height, and wide, right? High, height, and wide. Another block for the head. Beginners, this one may not be for you. So, again, dispense with what does not make sense for you in this recording. So I'm sitting in Virasana, the knees are together, the feet are apart, the buttocks comes down in between the heels, and then from here you're going to lie back with that block for the middle upper back, just kind of like, if you're somebody who wears a bra line vertebrae is approximately where it is, and then head supported. And get the arms to roll from inside out, so shoulders down. Palms up. And let the roots of the thighs settle. Abdomen soft. And what is that block doing, teaching, offering the thoracic spine, the upper back and heart region? And you can also take the arms up overhead like so. You can also hold the elbows. This gets a nice opening for the shoulders. You can also turn the palms up, turn the palms down. All right, and then use the hands to support, lift the chest, and come on up. Quick note, if that pose was not for you, so to come out, you want to cross the shins, extend the legs out. If that pose was not for you, you could get a similar type of effect by working with lower blocks. You could take the blocks like so, and then from here, you could just lie down with the legs crossed or legs extended out straight. It won't be quite as dramatic, but you'll still get a really lovely opening for this chest region, upliftment behind the heart,
You could also take the block a little higher if you feel that your head is being thrown back and the back of the neck is being shortened at all. Something like this can also be really lovely and restorative and useful. Okay, our final pose before Shavasana, we're going to do a face down Supta Baddha Konasana. This one does use 2 bolsters. Again, if you don't have 2 bolsters, I'm sure you can substitute like a rolled blanket or something. You'll be able to figure it out once you see the pose. And then I like to have blankets to support my inner knees as well in this pose. So, and because I have one bolster, it's a little bit higher than the other, I'm just gonna throw a blanket over this bolster so that I'm creating a little bit more of an equal height for my 2 bolsters. And then also you want these bolsters right up against each other. So there's no gap between the bolsters. Okay, so we started class with a face up Supta Baddha Konasana. This is a face down Supta Baddha Konasana. So you're going to take the feet together, the knees apart. I'm supporting the outer knees on the blankets, and then lay your whole torso down on the bolster. Kind of feel like a frog in this pose, and then you can just fold the arms, rest the head on the backs of the hands, or turn the head to the side, and just let go. So after all the face up, kind of back bending work, it's nice to do something that's face down, or you can just let your back body spread a little bit. Let those spinal muscles spread and widen. And again, 5 minutes here, even longer, is a great idea. If you're turning your head to the side, make sure you turn it to the other side after a little while. And then, also while we're here, I'm just going to show you something. There's also a way of doing Shavasana that's prone, that's face down. And I'll just go ahead and show that to you. So you can lie down on the bolster like so, with the legs just sort of dangling off. And then from here, maybe a brick for the head is nice. There's different ways of doing this. I'm going to come up a little bit more on the bolster and take a brick for my head. And then arms out to the sides, palms down. And just let the legs be soft, be on the tops of the feet. Let the thighs roll from inside out. All right, so you can complete your practice here, or if you would like to roll over for more of a classical Shavasana, that can be a good call too. You can also put a bolster underneath your knees. Never be chilly in Shavasana, so if you're cold, you can put a blanket underneath you. You can also put a thin blanket for the head, and then of course tossing a blanket over you as well. You don't want to tuck the blankets in, but if you just want to throw some blankets over you, like so, then you can come into Shavasana. You want to set your Shavasana up well so that you can release from the outside in. So let go the legs, let go the arms, let go the abdomen, let go the skin, the muscles of the face, and then even let your breath rest. When it's time to come out of Shavasana, and it's good to stay for, good 5 minutes or more, but when it's time to come out, you'll want to come out gradually. So allow yourself to take a slightly deeper inhale, and then a natural exhale. And then you can just gently open your eyes, bend your elbows, rest your hands on your torso, anywhere that gives comfort. And then bend your knees. Roll over to the right side. Push with your left hand to sit up. And then close your practice. Let's close by sitting up straight and tall. This might be a nice time too if you just want to sit quietly for a minute or two with the eyes softly opened or closed.
or even fold the palms at the chest, down low on the sternum. As you inhale, allow the chest to gently expand and rise to the base of the thumbs. And then as you exhale, don't let the chest collapse, but keep some of that fullness, that expansiveness in the chest.